Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to review The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell and with Bill Moyers. Now, these two gentlemen did a documentary for PBS that was a 6-hour series. It was three 2-hour segments. But they actually filmed some 24 hours worth of material for that 6-hour segment. And this book came out of that extended conversation that the two of them had. And I'll be honest, this had a profound effect on me. I have been saying for years that I felt that there is no dichotomy between faith and reason, between science and the spiritual. And I firmly believe that. But it's not easy to find individuals out there that agree with me. There are a few. And the most notable I can think of is Joseph Campbell, because he gets it. He understood how these two topics, the spiritual and science, appear so different, but they aren't, and how they do not conflict with each other if you have an understanding of both. There were moments in this book where I despaired that I would never want to read anything else again, that I would just want to read this book over and over again, that there were passages that were almost a guided meditation, taking you through a journey that Joseph Campbell took in his pursuit of knowledge of mythology and the spiritual and the divine and religious experience. And he very much makes a separation between religious experience, which he equates with the shaman, and theology and organized religion, which he equates with the priest. And at the conclusion of this book, I really came to the idea that maybe the worst thing that ever happens to religious experience, the path of the shaman, was that we invented writing. Because when we started putting things down on paper or tablets or what have you, it stopped being a religious experience, and it became a record of a religious event. It became theology. And once it became theology, it became a tool that could be used as a form of social control. Because that is very much the role of the priest. They are an instrument of social control. Whereas a shaman is an individual who comes back from the wilderness and says, I have had a religious experience. Here is the path before me. You can walk it. But your religious experience is just that. It is yours. Campbell talks about the fact that how similar themes appear again and again and again in different cultures from all over the world that had no contact with each other. Which, kind of taps into the whole kind of the Jungian subconscious, which I also find very interesting. Jung had some really interesting things to say, far more than Freud. I don't agree with Mr. Freud that, everything is related to sex. No, not quite. But if you are an individual that enjoys philosophy, religion, religious experience, more importantly than religion, the spiritual, an understanding of how they do not conflict with science, with evolution, with the Big Bang Theory and everything else. And that there was a man that walked this world that completely got this on every level and in every way. This book is for you. I consider this to be an incredibly powerful and important tome. And I recommend it to everyone. And since it's written in the form of a conversation, the entire book is nothing but a conversation between these two learned men. It is very approachable. It is very easy to read. It's very friendly to the layman. Like Moyers and what he says, and Campbell what he says, and the two of them back and forth. Because while Bill Moyers isn't quite on the intellectual level of Campbell, he wasn't far behind. And he was able to bring up important points throughout the conversation, which Campbell, of course, was able to elaborate on. I can't really recommend this book enough. This is a book that will be staying in my collection. This is one of the rarities that I may actually reread at some point in the future, though I'm 2 books further down the line since I read this. I haven't had a chance to review a nonfiction book in a while. So if your interest is in religious experience over the theology of organized religion, I don't think you can go wrong with The Power of Myth.